we made it. I moved my tablet to see if I can get a better thing going on here. And I'm trying to do this with a pillow underneath.
Are we in the kitchen?
I'm taking the pillow away.
And I always just like Todd and I are not in the same frame, so we're trying to sit really close together. We're like right here.
Yeah, I know. Okay.
Listen, we're talking like this.
I know. And I didn't want to get the refrigerator in the background. It isn't in the background.
Why not?
Oh, come on. All the shit on it, you know.
You have a lot of shit on your refrigerator?
It's like, you know, you got pictures of everybody. And,
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and I got Mitch McConnell's quote up there about how African Americans are now voting as much as Americans.
Yeah, that's good.
Let me see Taryn's texting.
Okay, I'm going to turn my phone off because last time it rang and rang and rang. And
I'm putting mine on silent.
You can let me know what's going.
Okay,
we can go ahead.
Nathan not answering. We can go ahead and record and let him when he gets going. What are we supposed to talk about then? Should we just like we always do? We're coming up with something.
What would you like to start with?
the heat wave.
The heat wave's not here yet though.
Oh, we're supposed to be in the mid 90s next week.
Right.
Right.
You know, and that is like, I mean, come on, it's 1st of June.
Right.
Well,
Right.
2nd week of June. But I can't imagine what August is going to be like with this.
That's the hottest.
Now's the time to start. You know what? It's too late now, but you need to start sucking up to your friends with pools. But you have to start like in February or March. Because if you start doing it now, it's too late. They know what's going on. They know what's going on. So, but you need to start doing the pool sucking up thing February or March. So I mean, now one of our best friends has got a pool, and we're like, you know, the godparents of kids. So we feel like, so we usually start our pool, planting the seeds like around February, bringing gifts, wine, good thing.
Right.
So
yeah. I know, and I have so many, like my sister's traveling in Spain right now.
Oh, where's she at?
She's there for 3 weeks, and they're having the time of their lives, and they've been all over the world, mind you. So this is, and I've been to Spain with her once before, and Spain can get really, really hot, but apparently right now it's very comfortable. So, but they're going to Barcelona.
Oh, Barcelona's beautiful this time of year. I've been there.
I know.
I've been there in June before.
Yeah, and they're there now. And one of the things that they're so impressive. Taryn, are you wanting to?
Are we recording? Are we just chit chatting?
Yeah.
Where's Taryn?
We don't. We always wonder where.
We just BSing. Is this just bull?
Okay, we're gonna just BS here for a while, and then.
Can we cuss?
No, for all we know, he's recording. So anyway, she was talking to me. She's texting me pictures, and they went to, and it had to have been in a soccer stadium. They went to a Red Hot Chili Peppers concert the other night in a stadium with all these other, of course, Spanish people. And she said there were 60,000 of them. And she said what was so amazing was, unlike here where you have a traffic backup and then you jockey for position in the parking lot, everyone walked to the stadium.
Oh, yeah.
It was so cool. And everyone was orderly. There were no skirmishes. There were no anything.
Wait, nobody got shot? There was no shooting?
Nobody got shot.
Really? That's so weird.
Nobody was pushed and shoved.
Nobody got shot.
She said everyone was just so orderly. And at the end of the concert, everybody filed out of the stadium. And apparently it was, 1 a.m. or whatever.
That's early for them.
Yeah. So she said it was so cool because everyone filed out of there. So there were all of these people in the streets of Barcelona and orderly, and she said it was just the coolest thing, seeing this.
Nobody felt like they had to have their gun with them. Yeah. No, Barcelona is beautiful this time of year. I love it. I've been to there. I went to Sitges. I even went over to Ibiza. which was
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, yeah, and they're going to be all over the northern
That's
part
the part.
from Mediterranean side to Atlantic side. They're
Wow.
going to make an art. Well, they want to have, lucky them, I swear, they've done everything right to do this. They want to have a home there where they can live part-time during the year and then part-time in the US. So,
Sounds like we need to do some sucking up to them.
I know. I'm thinking about it.
Yeah,
I'm thinking
yeah.
about
Start doing some sucking
So-
up now, so you could get a. So
Yeah.
It's got a free place to stay in Spain. If you got a free place to stay, you just need to get over there and get back, which is not that cheap.
We
but-
were so
it.
happy.
No.
Yeah, we have a friend that's got a house in the southern part of Spain, and we're still like, what do
Kiss
you
him
have to
out.
do to get it? What is there, like a waiting list or
There's
something?
somebody there.
Yeah.
Seriously. And my sister, we are really, really close. And so I know she would love it if I came over there for an extended stay or at least a couple of weeks. And she said that one of her biggest fears going over there is that they won't get visitors because of the fact that they're in Spain and because of the fact it's not simple to make a trip over there. And so she said, but I told her she knows no strangers.
We'll
So
go
I
visit her. You know what? Tell her to put her fears to rest.
Yeah, we'll go.
We'll go.
absolutely,
Whatever we can do to help, if it will make her feel better.
yes. And she will make so many friends. I know she will. And so I really don't have any doubts that they're going to do just fine once they make that decision. They're close to retirement age. And
Cool.
so this will be coming up, which is why they're there at this point in time. So I'm thrilled for them, but I know darn well that, I mean, Mark and I are not traveling this summer at all. And we haven't traveled for 2 years, but we're not yet to get out there, especially now with the crowds, with everyone else going. We're going, we think we'll stay home for a little while longer and let the airlines get past this cancel all the flights thing.
Yeah.
Can you imagine going to the airport,
Yeah.
all that getting ready and getting there and all of that and finding out your flight's canceled? I wouldn't handle that very well.
Were you guys big travel bus before the pandemic? Did y'all travel a lot?
They did.
Did you though? Did you travel a lot?
Yeah, Mark and I would travel at least a few times a year, 2 or 3 times a year. I would travel at least 3 times a year, sometimes 4, to see family. Because, for example, Susan's out in California. I have an uncle in North Dakota that I like to visit that I now haven't seen in 2 years, and he's now in his 90s.
North Dakota.
He's still going strong, but and then Mark's mom, she died during the pandemic, but we used to go.
Oh, that's right. Sorry about that.
Yeah, we used to go see her twice a year without fail, if not 3 times. So we were always traveling, and Mark was traveling internationally for his job.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he was gone all the time for that. So he's been to Mallorca. He's been to Tallinn, up there near Finland, and he's been all over the place for work. So, but he was doing so much travel, he didn't mind staying home.
He's like, yeah, ready for a break. Yeah.
So
lots
of trips to Germany.
Right.
Obviously, he was with Porsche at the time. So, but he would go to the most beautiful places. He went to Mallorca and just said,
Mallorca's supposed to be beautiful.
Oh, he said it was just the place.
We were going to go to Mallorca, but we ended up spending more time at Ibiza. Long story there, but so.
Yeah. Well, my sister and I, when we went, we explored the whole Costa del Sol of Spain.
Right.
And what was oh my God, seeing the Rock of Gibraltar. Whoa, what a sight.
Dude, you want to go to Spain?
What a sight.
I hear that would be beautiful because that's such a iconic thing.
Oh, and it's like you're on Highway 1, it's called, in Spain, right on the water. You come around, you don't see it. You come around a curve. And the minute you come around the curve, you see this huge thing jutting up. And that's the Rock of Gibraltar. It's huge.
Somebody just
And
dropped
it's
it there.
got-
Right? Yeah.
Oh, it's so magnificent to see. It's just unbelievable to see. So I think it's considered a wonder of the world.
Does it look just like who was it, the insurance company that used to have to get a piece
Yeah.
of the rock?
Omaha.
Does it look just like that?
It-
Get a piece of the rock.
Yes, yes, but in person, it is jaw-dropping, and it is really worth seeing. It really is. And like I said, we came around that curve on the Costa del Sol, and it's like, there it is. It's just.
So are you not traveling because you guys are still just kind of, well, it's mostly because of we were about flight cancellations or anything, or?
Well, right now, it's just so crazy at the airport. You've got 3-hour waits.
Yeah.
Oh,
Through lines, you've got lines
My
that,
cost.
sorry, that's a long time.
yeah.
So I am actually flying this summer, first time in about 3 years. Todd's not. I'm taking a vacation without him. We've been together long enough where we can take separate vacations. He's taking them without me, to be fair. So him and his best friend, they'll take on their little road trips to Florida. So I'm going up to Boston with my best friend. Actually, we're going to Provincetown, and which is, yeah, and Provincetown is like way on the tip of, how Boston kind of curlicues around.
Yeah.
But we
Yeah.
bought our tickets back in January, and we're going 4th of July weekend. Which do you know much about Provincetown, or it's called P-Town?
I don't, but I've been to Boston,
Yeah.
and I used to take what they call, that flight from the corridor when I lived in
Yeah.
New York City.
The corridor,
The
yeah.
corridor from there to Boston is like it's a commuter flight.
Right, it really is, yeah.
Boston. And you would always end up circling in Boston. It's totally known for the number of times you have to circle the airport in the air.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Now, I don't know that it's gotten any better, but at that time, you could expect to circle the airport for at least 30 minutes, maybe even more, because the airport there is small, because it's on the water. There's no place.
I've been there before, yeah.
And it's older, so it was just known for all the time you had to spend circling.
Wings was Wings, right?
That was in Boston.
Was it Wings? That's the airport. I'm just
Yeah.
kidding. Wings was not the.
Yeah, I don't remember what it's called. I just know that
Wings. It was like a
airport.
dumpy little airport. It was a TV show.
Yeah.
So we bought our tickets back in January, even before the Ukraine war broke out. We got really good rates, and now we're like, we're going to show up at the airport, and we're going like 4th of July week, since it's a big travel week, and we're going to go show up, and they're going to like cancel our asses, or it's going to be like we're going to have to get there like 2 days before. So, but I'm still looking forward to it. I have never been, and
I would be looking forward to it too. I'm just not one who enjoys that airport experience.
yeah,
I
right. Yeah.
Why not?
Why not? Why don't you like the airport experience?
I
Isn't it
don't
grand?
like it. There is just something about that hurry up and wait. Be sure to get there 2 hours before, standing in lines, especially for the TSA. And Mark has got the upgrade on that, so he.
I bet Mark gets all the upgrades. He probably gets all the cushy.
Right.
They probably bring lilacs to your seat, and y'all probably have all those upgrades, right?
He doesn't have those anymore, the on-plane experience, because he's no longer corporate. But he does still have the TSA, because that you apply for
Right.
the pass. You apply for that in person or personally. But here's the other thing I haven't done and I'm not going to do, and that's the picture where they take the whole graphic thing of your face. And then, so when you go to the airport, it speeds things up, but you have to literally, it's like 1984. You literally have to go to a machine. It scans your face.
Okay, yeah. I've seen that, yeah.
And then you go through.
Go all the way through, right, yeah.
Does a background check on you and all of that. And I'm still not really comfortable with that. I realize
you don't want to do a background check on you. You got something you want to talk about? You want to get off your chest right here? It's just the three of us. Taryn's not even listening.
Tell us.
What is it?
Comfortable with that whole thing of putting your face on there. It's like, oh, her, there she is.
You're like, yeah, it's kind of like 1984.
I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. I know it would speed up my process, you know, exponentially to go through that particular system. But I'm not quite there yet where I want to have that facial recognition thing going on, even though they take it off your driver's license all the time. Yeah,
They
do.
love Todd at airports. It's like every time Todd, remember the last time you went, like they'd never seen an amputee before. You know, I mean, they were like
Come this way.
come this way. And like, you guys have,
ADA.
I mean, you know, then they're like, you know, checking him out and then the thing goes off and I'm like, you know, there's metal in that leg he's wearing. And
I know. I know.
but we went to San Francisco a few years ago. That wasn't too bad, right?
It was all right.
No, it was better then, but so, I think one time you were at the airport and they, you know, you thought they were like gonna do all kind of searching. Like it's just how could he fake a prosthetic leg?
I'll just hop.
I can imagine, totally. I can imagine. It's bad enough that this X-ray shows all of, you know, the outline.
Yeah, that I'm a little worried about. Yeah, I'm kind of like that X-ray showing all your
fake stuff.
All your internal,
all
your private parts too.
Yeah, all your junk. I don't want them to X-ray my junk.
Exactly. All that stuff underneath your clothes.
Yeah, that stuff. That's reason.
Go ahead, the arms up, the legs spread. Okay, whatever. But it's amazing what we go through now to fly. And but I'm not a fan of airports. Now, does that mean I've never traveled? Oh my God, I've been all over. Not to, there are a lot of continents I haven't been to, but I've been all over Europe. I've been to Paris 5 times. I've been to Iceland twice, which
do you have a fave? Like what would be like one of your faves?
Oh, I would say Iceland is at the top of the list.
Right.
If you haven't been, you have to go at some point.
Great.
Oh, it's just amazing. And one of the things about it that makes it so amazing, in addition to the whole geological massive difference of it than anywhere else. You know, they have a continental divide there between North America and
volcanoes.
And it's just amazing, but they have a low use of fossil fuels. Very low use.
Yeah. And it's really cool people too. They say the people are really super cool.
Yes, and that's my background. So I'm very comfortable there. But here's the thing. You get off the airplane and you go out in the air, and the thing that strikes you the most is that you're breathing oxygen.
Nice.
It's just, you just go, oh, wow. I haven't breathed like this before.
Why is this? She's going in shock.
To think that you're out in that pureness, and it's everywhere. It's everywhere. And the Icelanders are so accepting.
Yeah, that's what they say.
They had the first parliament in the world. It was in 998 AD. First parliament in the world. Can you imagine all these people coming from all over the globe, you know, coming across the Arctic Sea? They all came there to have a worldwide parliament. So Iceland had the very first parliament in the world.
I didn't know that.
These were very accepting people. And then the Danish decided, well, they're taking over.
They're taking over, yeah.
Yeah, because they wanted to make it Christian.
Isn't Iceland where Thor? Doesn't Thor come from Iceland?
Well, it's not Thor. Not Thor. It's not that I'm aware of. But Iceland was settled primarily by the Vikings.
I know, but Thor's a Viking.
Well, maybe it was, but I don't know that Thor was there. It was more like, you know.
That's why I want to go, actually. If you want to be honest with you, I heard Thor was there. I wanted to see Thor.
Well, okay. Well, then look up all the legendary people when you go there. I never thought about looking up Thor.
Yeah,
you know, I was more interested in Eric the Red, being Norwegian.
Right.
I was interested in Eric the Red and Leif Erikson. And by the way, they really left their mark there. They really left their mark there.
Yeah. And they were first to America. Take that, Columbus.
They kept going. Well, you know what it was? This is the greatest thing. Eric the Red was a real fighter. And the reason they had to leave Norway and the European theater was because he kept killing people. So he finally got kicked out. They took him to Iceland, and danged if he didn't kill somebody. So Iceland, being the peaceful place that it was, said, "You're out of here, man." And Leif, his son, said, "You got to go, Dad. You cannot stay here
This has
with
got to
this
stop.
behavior." So he got on the boat and then went to Nova Scotia and down the coast.
Right.
So
Killing
that,
people, I heard.
yeah, this guy just could not contain his temper.
Right. You just can't.
He could not contain his temper. Eric the Red was just
a legendary.
badass. You didn't want to mess with him.
Hey,
But the Vikings were actually all over Europe. They even went down into the tip of Africa. They were just all over.
they were everywhere.
And then they get into one of those little frickin' boats and they cross the Arctic. It took them to get across that Arctic in those little boats. I mean, seriously, you guys, I've been above the Arctic Ocean and I've seen the Arctic Ocean, and I'm here to tell you that is not something you just go, "Oh, I think I'll cross that."
Yeah,
You know?
it's a little chilly. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a little cold.
So
Although
they-
it might be better to be in a smaller boat because of all the icebergs. I mean, larger boats obviously don't have a great history in the northern Atlantic and the Arctic, from what I've heard.
Right, but if you
What was that? That was the Titanic.
I think so, yeah.
yeah, the Titanic. Yeah, if you can keep from getting smashed against something with the waves.
With the little boats. Did you, when you were in Iceland, did you see the Aurora Borealis?
I did not. I was not there at the right time of year, but what I saw was, and I'll never forget this ever in my life, I decided on this second trip that I was going to get on an Icelandic plane, which, by the way, they're prop planes.
Right.
Iceland is, not very big. And the guys that pilot those prop planes are like bush pilots, because you are going down, when you go somewhere, you are landing on an airstrip that is no longer than maybe a quarter mile at the most. At the most, if even that. I mean, I was shocked at how short the landing strips were. So we're in this prop plane, but every town or city you go to is in a fjord. And you are in this plane, this prop plane, and the stewardesses, by the way, are like the old stewardesses here. They've got the hats.
Really? They have stewardesses?
Beautiful uniforms, and they are just fabulous. So anyway, but when you are going into a fjord to land on that postage stamp landing strip, those wind tips, you could swear at any second are going to like clip those fjords, and those guys are just maneuvering through. And I thought, clearly these Iceland pilots, they grow up flying their little planes through these fjords, and then they get to the prop jets, or they're actually large prop planes, the old style. They're just sailing through these fjords, and you're hanging on for dear life because you're looking out the windows on both sides and seeing those massive cliffs on both sides. It's just amazing. But so I really enjoyed that. And then,
Yeah, it does.
yeah. And then
put it on the list, the bucket list.
Put it on your list. And also in the center of the island is like one of the biggest glaciers. The island is nothing but a cauldron. And in the middle is a huge glacier that you can see glimmer from all over the island. Mm-hmm. And flying over that is amazing. But talking about like the Aurora Borealis and the lights, when I came back from Akureyri, which is my grandma's birth town, and I had to go through the fjords, when I came back, it was still midnight sun, and it was about 10 o'clock at night. And I'm here to tell you, I have never seen anything like it. All of a sudden, bursting into that plane were the most amazing colors I have ever seen. And they just blew right into, it takes you aback, right into the plane. These colors were out of nowhere. These colors just came bursting through that plane. And you're just like, this is I've never seen anything like it.
Well, weed is legal in Iceland, so you don't think that had anything to do with it, right?
What was that?
I said weed is totally legal in Iceland, so that wasn't anything to do with it, right? I'm just kidding.
Listen, you know what?
I bet
They're an amazing people.
that's what they say.
As a girlfriend of mine says, who lives there, she said, and she was born there. She said, "We're very sturdy people here."
I'm sure.
You have to be.
Because I mean, the winters up there. I mean, you talk about the midnight sun, but and there's going to be times, and you're not going to hardly see the sunlight.
Right.
You know, the days are like 30 minutes long or whatever.
Right. The winters are darker, but do you realize their climate in the winter is more like Seattle or Vancouver?
Yeah.
It is not that cold. They do get snow, but a cold night is 30 degrees.
Oh, wow. So Iceland made me think it would be cold. I don't know.
No, Greenland, across the pond from there, across the bay, that is where you're cold. And the Vikings, to get people to Greenland when they went there. In fact, I think Eric the Red went there first, which he probably didn't like.
Killed somebody. He probably killed somebody.
Well, there was no one to kill. Iceland is it's a huge, big, cold, icy island. It has just these little strips of land on the edges where they go out in the fishing boats and they almost die. Have you seen those shows on TV? It's the Iceland fish catchers. They go out onto that Arctic Sea, and you're just like, dudes, this is not a good time to catch fish. And I don't know how they make it out alive. But Greenland is tough. But the next time I go to Iceland, I'm also going to go over to Greenland. So
you didn't go to Greenland this last time, but you're going to go next.
No, I didn't. But most Americans go to Iceland, and they make that trip over to Greenland while they're up there.
Might as well.
Yeah, you might as well. You can leave from Reykjavik and then come back. And what they have on the streets of downtown Reykjavik are all these stores where you can buy the clothes you need for Iceland.
Yeah, because you're not going to bring them with you, right?
You really have to have big suitcases.
Bring
heavy jackets and boots and everything.
What do you do with the clothes when you're done? Just leave them there for somebody else, or do you bring?
I think you just need a big suitcase. Now, when August is a cold month, that is the beginning of their winters.
Yeah, it really starts there.
Knowing that, because June is beautiful, it's about 70 degrees, and which is so totally doable.
Right.
But August, beginning of winter, I was wearing 3 layers a day. I would wear a camisole, a sweater, a camisole, a shirt, and then a sweater under my ski jacket every day.
Right.
Because it's the wind. The wind is just unbelievably biting. And I've got pictures of me out on the bay that goes off to the ocean to Greenland. And I gotta say, I was freaking cold. Even that with the hood and the whole works. And I have pictures of me on that boat. And that boat was moving like this. And the only steps to get down into the inside were on the outside of the boat, right above the water. And there were these steps with handrails. And I thought I would be in that ocean if I tried to get down those steps. So I'm staying out here. I'm freezing, but there's no way I'm even trying those steps.
So that sounds like a place to go. Iceland's number 1 then. Because I guess since we're not traveling, we got to at least talk about traveling, kind of go through it vicariously or whatever. But Iceland's number 1. What's number 2?
Number two for me would probably be Paris. Although I have to tell you, Italy has the best food and the most beautiful people. Paris and France are a real experience because the Parisians and the French have a whole different attitude about Americans and a whole different attitude about life. So it's a real trip to go there. And Paris, what I love about it is very walkable. And I always stay on what's called the rive gauche, the left bank. and it's very close to the Sorbonne. I stay on Rue Saint-Germain, and I've got this figured out after 5 times.
Sounds
And
like
I've always stayed there. I've stayed on Rue Saint-Germain on the left bank. It's only a walk over a bridge to the Notre Dame Cathedral. And then you walk everywhere else. And the Sorbonne is just up the street. So it's very eclectic. At night, the students and the people are out. It's where the Shakespeare bookstore is, which has American and English books.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
You've been there. You've been there several times, obviously. You like that one, Paris. But you said the Italian people were beautiful, kind of like.
The Italian people are. I don't know what they're like now, but when I was there, they were the most beautiful people I've ever seen. They were always dressed, and they always looked. See, the French people, even though we glorify them as far as being beautiful, they're not. A typical French person is with unwashed hair, the women even, unwashed hair, and they're hanging out over a cup of coffee.
Smoking away. So were they mostly the Italian men that were pretty beautiful? Is that kind of
No, the women and the men. Now, they're seriously attractive, and I haven't been here, but when I was in Italy, there were Greek sailors in town, and there was a boat on the water that was going to be leaving for Greece. They are the most beautiful men I've ever seen, the Greek men.
The Greek men. Okay.
Yes, they are gorgeous.
Huh?
Gorgeous. Yeah.
So so Iceland's a fun place to go, but Greece would be a good place to go to look at men.
I haven't been, but I have a girlfriend. I have a girlfriend who loves going to Greece, and she goes.
Why.
What was that?
Wonder why.
I wonder why. Oh, and she loves the history. The Greeks have such an amazing history, as does most of Europe. But all those of the Parthenon and all that history, the beautiful monuments, and there's just so much there to see.
I've always wanted to go to Santorini. I thought that'd be a fun place to go. Santorini. I hear people talk about how beautiful that is.
Yeah, there's so much to see over there. I've been to Germany also. They're all beautiful countries. I've been to Norway, and the fjords, of course, are jaw-dropping as well. The fjords are astounding. The Icelandic fjords are short, and the Norwegian fjords are massive, massively high. And it's just amazing. And you'll see, here's the thing about Iceland and Norway both. These are sturdy people, and Viking, born and bred. Thor. And what you'll see when you're going through the fjords, some of the funniest things you'll see at the top of this massive fjord, cliffs and everything, you'll see right on the edge a little farmhouse.
Cool. Oh, cool.
And it's just, the people there are fearless and also very interesting, very eccentric.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. Yeah. And that would be part of the fun to go. To me, I like seeing, you can see beautiful places, but part of what makes it fun is the people. I mean, that's part of the fun part.
Totally.
Because it's just, I think in America, we think everybody's like us. And then you go to Europe and you realize people are not, I went to Thailand one time and I was like, wow, talk about a different, or where was it a place I went? Oh, I went to Bali, and I was like, wow, we really are like, we're just very different people. I think that's part of the fun of it. To see the different places is cool.
That's one of the things they have a hard time understanding. Like this whole gun thing, this is so foreign to them. They just do not understand it. I mean, it's just one of the things about Americans that they're just, but I had one of my PhD friends who, like he said, and I've talked about him before, one of the things that he told me, because I'm like, Steve, what is wrong with us in this country? Why are we the way we are? Nutcases everywhere and loving our.
What did he say?
And he said, we are an infant country.
Right. Yeah, we are. We're like little babies.
The rest of the world, they have been inhabited for years, hundreds of years.
Right.
So they're mature countries.
They had the Dark Ages. They've already been through all that.
They've been through all of these, as he said, growing up. He said we're an infant to an adolescent country.
We're like going through our adolescence maybe right now, or rebellious adolescence. Oh my God.
Little brats.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But we are not a mature country. So the way we do things is, as far as they're concerned, we're absolutely out of our minds. And you want to know something interesting? My nephew, who was with SpaceX, was telling us when he married a woman from France who had a place in Paris and a place in the countryside, a young woman, astrophysicist as well as he, that he met in school. And she, when they got married in France, she told him, look, when we have children, I am not raising them here. And he was fine with that. So they packed up 2 weeks ago and they moved to her flat in Paris.
So they have children now.
They just had two. She just had a baby and they have a 2-year-old.
Ah, and so they don't want, she didn't want to, so the 2-year-old won't remember anything. Right. So they're going to raise the kids in Paris.
They're going to, well, probably, I don't know if they'll stay in Paris, but it will definitely be France. Her parents and her home was in the countryside.
Right.
But they're going to have to be close to schools and everything. They're both astrophysicists. I don't think getting work is going to be a problem.
Yeah, yeah. It's how they can work, because they can work for anywhere, because the space is like everywhere, right? So they can talk about the ultimate work from home job.
Well, he left SpaceX there. And one of the things he said about Elon Musk, everyone at Tesla and SpaceX, and I've read this before, are on eggshells every day.
I've heard that.
Because he is the epitome of a tyrant. And my nephew said that when he came to SpaceX, if you got called into a meeting, which he has been on occasion, or I'm sure a few times, because he helped design the rocket. He was one of the designers. He said when Elon Musk broke into a meeting, which he would come in unannounced, he would, if he asked you a question and he didn't like what you answered, for example, like, when are you going to have this done? And you answered, oh, September, but he wants it in June, you're fired immediately on the spot.
Yeah, I've heard that. It's real kind of like it's like he's like the sort of the ruler, almost. If it wasn't so sad the way he did it, it would almost be comical. They say like, oh, they just like fires people, like, and like you're disintegrated, or you're vanquished or whatever. I heard he was almost like that or whatever. So
yeah.
And now he wants to buy Twitter, so
right.
That's great.
So when Daniel would go into meetings and he'd come in, everyone, including him, everyone was terrified that he was going to ask them in particular a question. Everyone was terrified of him.
It's kind of strange.
So, he's a brilliant man, obviously, but he's not a nice man. So anyway, but they've moved to France.
Yeah,
She said this is the deal. We have children. I'm not raising them in the US. I'm sorry, I'm not. And of course, right after they left was the school shooking.
Yeah.
And I'm sure she was just
like, told you.
Point.
Yeah. I have a good buddy. Who lives in Germany. I mean, we've been friends since we were teenagers, and he comes over to visit. And he just was here like 2 weeks ago, and we hung out together. And I always like to ask, because he's got 3 kids he's raised over there, and he moved over there like shortly after we graduated from high school. And he met a wife over there. He's been over there most all of his adult life. Raised 3 kids. They're all to adulthood now, and it's just funny to talk about. Like, he comes over and he's got like 6 siblings, and he talks about their kids versus his kids and the culture they grew up in. It's a really because it's funny, when he landed here, I asked him, I said, how's it feel to know that you have 40% more chance of dying from a gunshot wound than when you were walking in Germany? Just by walking on the soil here.
Right. And everyone rushes to buy a gun. And I'm sitting there going, what the hell? That just means more guns are on the street. Whoa.
Yeah, it's a whole crazy thing, right? I don't know what's gonna happen. It's such a volatile topic or everything, but it does, like they say it's affected. We're talking about travel. They say it's affected travel to America. That tourism in America's down, or it was. Even before the pandemic. Yeah, they were
especially right, especially since we're so ethnocentric. There are a lot of people out there that hate any kind of foreigners at all. They just do. So, and here's the other thing I find so interesting is how many Americans, particularly the guys that like the AR-15s, and which I don't understand at all. Why do you need one in your home? I mean, those children were cut in two by that AR-15.
It's horrible, man.
Canada immediately tightened up their gun laws even further. And Americans are so pissed at them. And the only thing, they're just nuts over this. The Americans are nuts over this. American AR-15 and these owners of guns that Trudeau thinks are just unnecessary. And I figured they must be buying guns out of Canada.
Really?
In addition to Mexico.
These people were upset with because they're I mean, the AR-15 is funny, but I mean, because I live in the South and you live in the South, and so we all know people that are big gun enthusiasts and all that. And the AR-15, man, they when somebody gets one, they have like a party. It's like a new member of the family, and they have a barbecue, and they all bring the AR-15s. Oh, a new member of the family. I mean, they're like pretty serious about. I mean, so when it's almost like when that ban elapsed in 2004 on assault weapons. It's going to be difficult to put the genie back in the bottle because people are so in love with them now. I mean, maybe the best they could put. I would love to see them put raise the age limit. I think that's kind of a no-brainer. And then, but I would say why should they should they be able to take a test or something to get a license or something to have one? Like you have to have a license to have a car, you have to have a license to freaking fish, but I was like, shouldn't be able to if you're going to get a weapon of mass destruction. But I mean, because they're not going to, I would love to see it banned again, but I can't see that happening. It's just too out of the bottle, man. And people are so in love with these guns.
It is.
You don't have one, do you? Do you have an AR-15? Todd, go get ours. We got 3. I'm just kidding.
You only have 3. Yeah.
We named them. Just kidding.
I don't see the need. I just don't see the need. It's that even though there are shootings,
right,
it's still it's just a slim chance you're going to be shot.
Right.
It's a slim chance. Even though there are people being killed, and for children now, it is the most common way they're dying because of these stupid school shootings because guys are getting these weapons and they're pissed, and they're also, they go on the internet and then they go to these sites that make them angrier and angrier and angry. So the internet has a lot to do with these guys buying those and what they do with them. Right. These are boys and young men who feel like they are totally disassociated from Americans. They are in their bedrooms. They have no friends. They don't have lives. Their life is the internet, and they go to the Proud Boys and they go to the white supremacist sites, and it gets them all. And these guys know how to recruit. I've read the FBI studies on this, and the FBI does profiles, and this one guy who's a profiler about this, and he tried to profile the gentleman who went into the church and shot the guy, the Bible study group at the table. Remember the church in, I think it was South Carolina? Yeah. And he just picked them off like fish in a barrel. They went into, I mean, he was one of the first ones they went into to try and profile him. And basically what they found was just like all the rest. No friends. He was being groomed in white supremacy and all of those alt-right groups. And that's what he did, because they also are very discriminatory. Blacks are the enemy. Women are the enemy.
Not really crazy about gays. We've just heard this.
No.
I've heard I've heard a rumor. Have you heard this rumor?
Yeah.
They're not crazy about gays. Which makes me
remember
wonder
the
that
gay
they I mean, it's so funny because, Proud Boys, I mean, this is Pride Month, and they've sort of commandeered that name, and a lot of people are like snickering behind their back. Like, did they really do their marketing research before they chose their name? Or are they just doing this on purpose? Or I don't know, whatever. But it does sound like a gay group, to be honest.
No, there's gay hatred too. There's Muslim hatred, gay hatred, Asian hatred, Mexican hatred. They're all about hate.
Right.
They're all about hate, and they hate all of these groups.
Well, they're in the. I don't know if did you watch the video last night that they showed about the Capitol riot? They really featured the Proud Boys. They were very much front and center as a part of this, because apparently they were kind of leading the charge. And they were going. Them and the Oath Keepers were, and they were. I mean, the video last night was pretty telling. The way they had it all sequenced out, the timing. They had it all timed out. It's the first time I think we've seen it all timed out, and they were very much part of. I mean, it was very much designed to do what it was to be, to not just be this sort of spontaneous thing. It was very much designed that way.
No, it was choreographed because those guys, they do military style training. And so their maneuvers, when they went to January 6th, they were falling back. They were stepping forward. No, they had it all choreographed and knew exactly what they were going to do as a group. When they encountered police, when they encountered pushback, they would make military formations. They had it all planned out, all of it. These guys are smart. But the leader of the Proud Boys, they have
in trouble.
Sedition.
Yeah, he's in trouble. He's not gonna be happy in jail. I don't think.
Right.
He's not gonna like it at all.
Exactly. What the problem is now that they've moved to the dark web is they all maintain lone communication. There are no group meetings anymore. There is no group gathering anymore, because they figure if they keep it lone people, and this is by design, then they cannot be considered a group.
Yeah, because they were classified as a terrorist group. They were under the terrorist. Them and the Oath Keepers were classified as that. So as a hate group too. Yeah.
They are. I get a publication once a year, and it's called Hate in America. I read the most uplifting things. But it talks about all those groups. It counts the number of groups who are hate groups. And Proud Boys is on there. And all of these militant groups are on there because their thing is hate. They hate, hate, hate. They hate the fact that our population is losing its whiteness. They hate the fact that alternative lifestyles are impinging on, the American thing. And they claim to be Christian.
They claim to be Christian.
Right. So, and the Oath Keepers believe that sheriffs have the ultimate ruling in every decision. The sheriffs, the county sheriff is the head, and the rest of the sheriffs are there to enforce what they believe are the laws that should be upheld. Laws that come in from Congress, they disregard. They consider those too much of stomping on their rights. But that's the Oath Keepers. Those are law enforcement people.
Right.
Law enforcement people who have said, screw that. No. We are not abiding by the government's rules.
Well, you should watch the from last night. I'm sure they'll be on repeat or something, especially Liz Cheney's opening. But when they really sequence that, and they also don't hold back. There's a lot of profanity and stuff like that in there. They apologize. But it's interesting because it's very. I think we all watched it that day, and it's kind of faded from memory. But this kind of put everything back in context, especially like Trump's part in it, and it's just too much to ignore. So maybe this is what you're talking about, because your friend said earlier as you traveled that America seems immature, and this does. When you think about people like the Proud Boys, it almost seems like a bunch of guys playing on the playground. You know, them and us, but we're not boys playing on the playground. We're grown-ups with adult weapons, with that can kill. But it is almost like a bunch of. It is a very immature kind of way of thinking. It's like a bunch of gang of kids. You know,
fighting as a way to get things done.
Right. That's very like juvenile, isn't it? That's very that's kind of what your friends were saying, you know.
Right. And they refuse to accept that the government, and you know what kills me is they're on Medicaid. They're accepting all these government benefits, and yet they want the government destroyed. It's so interesting to me. It's like, geez, you Einsteins, don't you understand? You destroy the government, you destroy every benefit you've got. So many of these guys live alone. They have lost their friends because of their beliefs. They don't have friends. Their only friends are the other guys in that group. And they don't live, they live on subsistence. So you're thinking to yourself, but see, here's the thing. The only thing that matters to these gun groups, these guys who live by the gun, is guns. The Second Amendment is the only thing that matters to them.
Right.
That's you watch. That's all they care about. And then with the Proud Boys and these other official hate groups, the other thing is the hate towards the current government, the hate towards immigrants of any kind. They hate towards the fact that whites are diminishing because we have so much immigration. Their whole thing is about, and the guns, oh my Lord, they have arsenals.
Oh yeah, they do. They get to.
And they honestly, there are more guns in this country than people, and they honestly think there will be confiscation. That's their whole thing.
Yes, that's going to happen.
And I'm going, how in the world would our government perform a confiscation? You have more guns than people. You have guys holding out in the desert with their arsenals.
Right. Australia did that voluntary buyback plan, and it worked pretty decent in Australia. But that was Australia, and plus, you know, people got money. You know, I mean, they paid, the government bought these guns at a pretty good rate. And so, and somebody said, well, we should do a voluntary buyback. I don't think people would do it here. I don't think people would rather have their guns than the money. They'd rather starve or whatever.
No. These guys are subsistence living, many of them. And then you have those people who are like us, who are like, I'm not giving up my guns. I've got this rifle and this Magnum and this because I'm protecting my family against all these guys who are shooting people. And I'm thinking, nobody gets this. You are adding to the gun violence.
Yeah, it's become like exponential.
And how many times is somebody to break into your home and try and kill you? What is the likelihood of that?
That's happened.
It's not. It's not. So the gun issue, like you say, it's a huge issue. And I am a believer in the Constitution. And I believe in the Second Amendment, but come on, when it was written, it was muskets, for God's sakes.
It was that AR-15. And but yeah, and I too, most of the people I know a lot of responsible gun owners. I think this is just. That's the funny thing about guns is though the little yeast can work its way through the whole loaf to quote the parable. So it doesn't. I mean, one kid with an AR-15 can kill a shopping mall, or whatever. So what I would almost like to see is the gun community rise up and take responsibility. I think that'd be really cool if they would rise up themselves and say, we're gonna start, putting in like some things that we're gonna support over 21. Let them sort of rise up and start. I think that'd be great if they could, because it would be really good for them, to kind of take some responsibility. But I don't see that happening. But I think it'd be great if they did.
Here's a problem too. AR-15s fly off the shelf. Everyone loves buying AR-15s and have for years.
Yeah.
The number of AR-15s sold, for whatever reason, is one of their top sellers.
Yeah, like I said, it's there's somebody called it America's gun. Or somebody on TV say it's America's gun. I'm like, really? We have a gun now?
And if you get shot by an AR-15, you die because of the way I was reading this just a few days ago. the way the bullets are shaped, they are meant to kill you
It's a weapon of
without
massive
any doubt.
and mutilate. Like they talked about these
And
kids
mutilate.
that could be
Which,
even
like,
identified, which is saddening to even talk about or whatever. But
it is. But I don't, but they're out there, and the NRA is so protected by Congress. And do you know who gets the most money from the NRA? You're going to love this. He's such a great guy. Want to guess?
Oh, you don't have to tell us.
Who?
Ted Cruz.
Oh yeah, I'm not surprised.
The NRA gives him about $450,000 a year.
I'm not surprised, man. He's like their buddy.
Yeah, and he's the one. No, what we need are more armed guards in schools. I'm just, what is wrong with us that we have to live in this culture?
I heard
so anyway,
Stephen Colbert, Ted Cruz looks like a werewolf, a drunken werewolf stuck somewhere halfway between transition.
Oh,
I thought it was pretty. And then I looked at the picture and go, he does kind of like a drunk werewolf who's like stuck in between his little transition or whatever. So
right, and of course he's from Texas, where it's going nuts. It's nuts there now. Texas. Totally nuts there. Right. I mean, we could talk about Texas forever, but
no Iceland.
Here's the thing too. I come from an NRA card-carrying family. I have never had any problem with the Second Amendment, but it's gone nuts.
A little carried away. Yeah. And even like the First Amendment, we talk about like you can't yell fire in a crowded firehouse. I mean, even in the First Amendment, we understand that we're like, conditions we haven't put on, but everybody's like the Second Amendment was like a free for all. There's no conditions. I don't think a lot of people even ever read it. I mean,
right.
What are the first words like a well-regulated militia is right there.
Well, they take that statement. They take that one statement, and as far as they're concerned, the militia is needed because the government is going to get them. That's how they feel about the militia. Their whole thing is the government. The government is bad. The government. And of course, Trump was so absolutely unbelievable about wanting to dismantle the Constitution. And these guys and of course, he gave gun rights even more of a boost. But if they protect the gun, I mean, these parents their kids were slaughtered, they cannot even file a lawsuit against guns or.
I think one of the laws that passed are trying to make it easier for them to do that too, which that's going to be a long uphill slog or whatever. So, well, I should probably let you know too that I have to go here in a few minutes. So I know we've actually been chatting for almost an hour. I don't know if you realize that.
Where'd turn go?
Well, we've had a lot of great conversations.
Yeah, time flies when you're having fun, but I just realized I gotta go.
And we'll all have another conversation another time.
Maybe we can get
always a pleasure.
Maybe we can get Nathan to join us.
Enjoy your Boston plans and take advantage of getting out and travel. I'm going to wait until things settle down in the airport. Not that. So, but you have a great time on the 4th of July if we don't talk again.
Yeah, if we don't, and I'll come back with a report and let you know how travel in the post-pandemic world went or whatever. If you see me, if you don't see me, you'll know the answer to that. But hopefully,
I know.
Back, okay.
And by the way, I travel by myself, like to Iceland twice and to Paris. So I'm with you on the couple being able to go.
I'm going with my best friend. My best friend and I are going.
Right.
So not going by myself, and we're meeting a bunch of guys up there. But Provincetown is a big, so just so you'll know, it's if you're going to look it up, it's a big sort of gay mecca actually. So I feel like it's a big artsy community, and it was there's a huge history there where gay people haven't always been accepted. And this place was like, it's been like a little, because it's out on the, like kind of like the Key West of the North or whatever, because it's kind of isolated. Yeah. So it's artsy. So me and a bunch of friends are going. Todd wasn't his thing. So we're going to have, so I'll come back with a full report. Let's show.
Oh, I can't wait to hear the report. It sounds wonderful. Okay. Have a ball.
All right, man. Well, good talking to you.
Bye, Di.
We got to go. Bye. Bye, Taryn.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.